Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode number 1 of the Lightly Salted podcast. My name is Alyssa, and I'll be hosting this show with my cousin Nikki. We are so happy to start this journey with you guys. We've been working really hard this year at recording episodes and kind of just getting everything ready to launch this podcast. We do have an Instagram. It's at the Lightly Salted Pod, so you can go follow us there to stay in the loop on everything that's happening. We also created a website, thelightlysaltedpod.com. I'll drop that link in the show notes below. We're going to post blog posts on our website. We'll also have links to all of our podcast episodes and just some other get-to-know-you stuff on our website, so make sure to check it out. We really do want to build a community of listeners, so you can reach out to us on our website or through Instagram to let us know if you are enjoying what you're hearing. Let us know if there's something specific that you want us to talk about on the pod, and maybe you know someone who might be a good fit. Let us know, and we would love to have them on the show because we really do want to grow this into something that can reach a lot of people. We've already had some incredible conversations, and I'm really happy that we're finally at the point where we can release those conversations with all of you. The goal of this is really to just inspire people and motivate people to live the most meaningful lives possible. Nikki and I both feel like there's so much to experience in the world, and I think it's a lot more fun when you have a good sense of who you are. Today's episode will be a little intro of Nikki and I catching up, so you get a chance to hear where we're currently at in life. We'll be posting new episodes on the pod every Thursday from here on out, so make sure that you're subscribed or following so that you don't miss any of those episodes. Sometimes it's just going to be Nikki and I catching up and sharing parts of our life with you, like we'll be doing today. Other times we're going to be joined by some incredibly courageous and knowledgeable guests. So far we've already had the chance to talk with business owners, entrepreneurs, health experts, who are all people that Nikki and I know personally, and they've really inspired us to keep pushing in life. At the beginning of this year, I asked Nikki if she wanted to start this podcast, and of course, she said yes, because that's just the type of person that Nikki is. Seriously, if you're lucky enough to know her, then you know how kind and generous she is. She cares so deeply for those people in her corner, and I have to say she has such a fun, spirit and adventurous soul. She really does just love to live life to the fullest, and I've always appreciated and admired that about her. But she has also been through a lot in life, and I feel like she has navigated it so well. And the last thing I'll say is that she's one of the most driven people that I know. I've told her whole pregnancy, I'm like, how are you so go, go, go? But it's so her. She always has a full plate, but it's because she's always giving and making the most out of what life has to offer. I'm really excited for you guys to get to know her more through our conversations on the pod. It has definitely been a busy year for us. I planned my wedding and got married this past spring. Nikki and her husband are expecting their first baby in less than a couple months from now. We both work full-time. So yeah, it's definitely been busy, but it's been a lot of fun to have a creative outlet in this podcast. I really believe that if you want something in life, it's important to go for it and believe in yourself, because even if it's scary and it seems like an impossible dream, I do feel like there's an unlocked potential within all of us, and I don't think we're often aware of our ability until we try. My husband says that I live in a world of rainbows and butterflies, which is definitely true. I'm an incredibly optimistic person. I think you'll learn that pretty quickly on the pod, but I'm well aware of life's challenges and the ugly that exists in the world. I know that people go through some unimaginably hard times, like dealing with grief, death, abuse, and illness. I mean, the list goes on, but I do want this podcast to be a safe haven for those conversations as well. We're going to talk about a lot of joyful things, but we're also going to have some incredibly sensitive conversations as well, because if there's anything that I've learned in the last year, it's that life is always both and. There's always good and always bad, and often we're experiencing it all at the same time. I think it's important to share our stories, listen to others, and talk about how we navigate this complex journey of life. So with all of that being said, I'm going to wrap up this intro and let's dive into our full conversation. So, Nikki, what are you most excited for in doing this podcast?
So I think that I am most excited for, honestly, some of it I think is the personal growth, because I think sometimes I shy away from tougher conversations, and I know that there will be, like you said, both joyous conversations, but I know that there will be some hard ones too. And I'm excited for that, and I'm looking forward to the personal growth that I think that it'll bring me personally. I'm also really excited to see how it challenges our listeners and the way that they think and see the world, and I hope that it really brings you all a lot of inspiration. I think that's something that Alyssa and I really have talked about, is just feeling like we both are so inspired by people within our community, or some people that we may personally know in our lives, and are just so inspired and really want to share that with all of you that are listening, because if they've motivated and influenced and touched us in so many ways, I know that their potential to reach a bigger audience is so doable. And I feel like we're like locking them away, and we need to like let them just inspire those around us. And I think that it's something that we can kind of offer the world to make it a better place. So I'm excited to see where these conversations bring and lead and inspire not only us, but all of our listeners too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Should we talk a little bit about how our summers have been?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have you go first.
Okay. Perfect. So we live in Michigan, and I feel like summertime is a big thing.
Oh, it's so busy. Like, I feel like it goes so fast. I think everybody kind of feels that way, but it's like, especially with Michigan being a state that has such cold and like long lasting winters, our summers are equally as nice, but they are shorter. So you're really trying to cram like all of those awesome summer activities into a few short months.
Yes.
And it just ends up being a really busy time.
It does. We have so many beautiful places too in Michigan. Like we have the UP, we have places by the lake shore, the east side of the state. Like there's always so much to do in the summertime, so many activities, so many things you can do on the lakes and the beaches. Like it's so nice. So my summer has been great this year. After my wedding in April, I really just wanted to take some time for like Mark's my husband, and I just wanted to enjoy a peaceful summer, because we spent the last year like planning for our wedding. And so I just wanted to like slow down and enjoy, not plan too much, because I can get carried away with like planning things to do all the time and staying busy. So I really tried to just enjoy every day and find time to be spontaneous, I guess.
I love that. Instead of having like a full plan. What do you feel like your favorite like activities or hobbies that you've like picked up?
I mean, gardening is always a fun activity for me in the summer. I picked that up a few years ago, and I carried that into this year again. But I feel like a new one, probably, I've really had a lot of fun leading outdoor yoga this year.
It was so nice. So I don't know how many of you like know Alyssa super personally, but yoga by the willow tree. Yes. I went for the first time yesterday, and it was so nice. And honestly, next time that I go, I think I'm going to ditch the mat, because it felt so nice just to have my feet like grounded in the earth. Like it was so beautiful. And like any of the poses, like happy baby, or any of the poses where you're like looking up at the sky, like the willow tree and like nature and the wind. And yesterday the temperature was like perfect in Michigan. I mean, it was lows of 50s, highs of 70s. So it felt really, really nice. Like the temperature was just a little bit cooler, not so hot, but I absolutely loved being just like outside with nature. And I feel like you led it so well.
Thank you. It's been really fun to do that. And I think this summer for me, a big theme has been getting outside. Just spending time in nature has been so good for my mental health, I think. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed and how much it just relaxes me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get stressed out pretty easily. I'm pretty laid back, but I get, like, internally stressed out, I feel like.
Yeah.
And being outside completely, like, clears my mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's
No,
been super fun to lead yoga.
Yeah, it was just so nice, and I feel like you can tell that you're really passionate about it too. But just even talking about like your goal of after being married, like wanting to just have some relaxation and like find your peace and that kind of thing, like I think that yoga has been, I'm sure, a really fantastic thing. I mean, I know that myself too, like I've had a work week this week. We'll just say that. It has been a really, really busy week with work. And yesterday, like I immediately went from work, went home, changed, came here for yoga, and I was like very go, and it just felt so nice when I finally just like slowed down and released some of that. So
took some time. I think it's so funny. I just have to say that we're about to launch this podcast, and it's been like the craziest week, I think, since we've started this. For us, it's been so busy. Yeah. What do you think your favorite part of your summer has been?
Oh, man. So I guess, I don't know. I feel like for me, obviously with a baby due in 6 weeks, I feel like my highlight of the summer has just been almost looking forward to that and like preparing. Like I've really enjoyed a lot of that, and just like, I don't know, kind of focusing like inward, like focusing more on me, and like the whole concept of like a human is about to learn how to be a human by watching me. Yeah. So I feel like in a lot of ways that has kind of challenged me personally, I think. And that's something that has just been a highlight in general, I think, is kind of letting go of like that people pleaser mentality and not kind of realizing that not everything that happens is a reflection of me or has anything to do with me. Like everybody's got their own things going on, but I'm such an internalizer and such a people pleaser that has always been something that I like carry a lot of weight with. And I feel like this summer I've really just allowed myself to kind of let that pressure go, like knowing that those things some of it has nothing to do with me. Like I'm sure that it's like people's reactions and things like that have worlds to do with what's going on in their own personal lives and stuff, and or something that happened earlier that day like really has nothing to do with me. So just kind of taking that pressure off myself, I think, has been really nice, and being able to focus more on like my own like intrinsic self and journey. I've been doing a lot of journaling. As much as I am a yes person as well, like I have been kind of putting things off or saying no to things that I feel like are not meant for me or that I can't take on going into this next chapter of my life, just because I know I won't have the time or it won't be a priority to me. So even with like for those of you who don't know me personally, I have a little thrift account on Instagram that I absolutely love and am so passionate about. And it has really gotten me through some darker times, because it is something that I pour into and that I truly enjoy. But I also have been able to not release that, but not feel like guilty about not being as present or not showing up on social media every day, whereas I really carried a lot of that pressure before. And I feel like that's something that I've kind of allowed myself to have some grace, because I just know that, again, my priorities are about to shift in like the biggest way possible. As much as that is a weird like highlight of my summer, I think that it's just been really like a summer of self-discovery, if that makes sense.
Oh, I love that for you. I feel like you can definitely tell too with how intentional you're being about this next chapter and kind of embracing all of these moments while it's still just you and Keegan, and really preparing yourself to welcome your baby girl.
I guess kind of on the flip side of that, what is maybe one thing that has been like something that you've been trying to like let go of this summer? That was kind of, so yesterday when you were doing yoga, you had like started with an intention of it, and I had done a yoga class on Sunday, and we had a question in the very beginning, like something that you've been trying to let go of or something that you've been holding on to that you need to release and let go of. And that was kind of what I went into that practice with last night, was just a very active mind on releasing that and kind of shifting that energy. Yeah. So I guess, what's something that you feel like you've been like holding on to that you're ready to release or let go of?
I think a big one for me has been relationships that are no longer serving me. That can be a really hard one to find peace with and let go of. You know, you never know if the timing is right or if you should, but I like love so hard and so deeply for the close people in my life, and I give a lot. And so I've kind of, I would say I'm still like that, but I've just been a little more careful with like who I give that love to and where I put my energy, I guess. Yeah, which has been hard, but
and it makes, I mean, that makes a lot of sense though, like not spreading yourself too thin and like sometimes you can really end up like burning yourself out or like burning the candle at both ends if you, and not that that's a people-pleasing thing at all. Sometimes you just really try to like hold on to all those relationships and make time for everyone, but you really need to prioritize the ones that are like in your corner, showing up for you, like that relationship goes both ways. And again, like something that you're growing and benefiting from having that relationship or partnership too. So that's a good one.
I feel like too, another one, I used to be so strict on myself with a wellness routine, like working out a lot and like having a really good diet, pretty strict. And I feel like I've eased up a lot this year in general. And I think part of it is like knowing that I want to do a podcast. And also I really care about work. Like that's a big priority of mine. My relationship with Mark is like a big priority. My relationship with my close family and friends. Like I feel like I've set my priorities currently for this phase of life, and it's made it easier to find grace when I'm like not working out, 2 hours a day or something like that.
So going off of that, do you think that some of that has come from like a like level of acceptance, I guess, if that makes sense? Like the people that are in your life, like you don't feel the need to like, I don't want to say show up for, that doesn't sound right, but like you just don't, not that you don't feel the pressure, but you're also like
I don't feel like an obligation maybe.
Like your health is definitely still a priority. Like you always keep that prioritized, and obviously it just makes you like feel better too when you're taking care of yourself, but maybe in a sense that you're able to treat like your workouts and your routine in kind of a different way, like maybe yoga or being outside is more grounding.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it goes back to sustainability. Like what is sustainable for what I want in my life for the next year or 5 years or long term? What kind of life am I trying to build? What do I have time for? I want to make sure that when I show up at 100%, and I want to give my full love to my friends and family. I want to give my full commitment to the podcast. And, I think that requires me to just be easier on myself in general. And so what are you most looking forward to with the change of the seasons?
I mean, okay, so there's a couple things. It is so interesting to me. I always like, fall is one of my favorite seasons, I think. I've really loved summer though. Definitely am a summer girl, but I'm excited for fall. I love the color change. I love the air getting crisp. Like those things are just fun, and I think fall activities are really fun too. Going outside sometimes is a little bit more enjoyable when you're able to like bundle up and get a little bit of a breeze in that sense. So I'm definitely looking forward to fall in that aspect. I feel like personally too, obviously, I think I'm just excited to see where life takes us in the next couple months. Like I think obviously it's a season change that we're experiencing, but it's also like a season change for us personally, just on completely navigating the journey of parenthood. And I'm really, really excited to watch Keegan become a dad because I think he's going to be so good at it. Like I'm going to get emotional. But I see the way that he like cares for me and cares for this baby already. Like, and just how responsive she is to him. Like he'll start talking to my belly and she gets so active and starts kicking and like just feels that safety and that comfort of dad being there. And I feel like he already kind of takes on that role or wears that hat. So I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about. Like I feel more confident in him becoming a dad than I do in myself as becoming a mom. So I'm really, really excited to see him take that on. I think he's so ready and just beyond capable. And I'm really excited to fall in love with him even more for that because it's something I haven't like personally experienced with him. And I think we're ready and it's going to be an adventure and I'm so excited to have like a little mini us running around. So yeah, I think that's definitely what I'm most excited about, but also just fall. I love fall.
Yes, I do too.
How about you? What are you most looking forward to?
I think really leaning into fall activities and having such a peaceful summer. It's like I'm ready to go out and like get together with people, go out and do stuff.
Kind of like you've reset yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I feel very refreshed. And even the days recently that it's been kind of crisp air, it's so refreshing.
It has been so nice.
Yeah.
Like just to start the morning with a little bit of a cooler feel. Yeah. What are some of your favorite activities for fall or what are some of your favorite activities with Mark too? I'm curious.
Ooh, we have so many. So many. I love all of the cliche ones, like going to the orchard, like going to the pumpkin patch, carving pumpkins, like caramel apples, like all of the cliche stuff.
So fun. Yeah. See, Keegan and I haven't done a whole lot of that. We've done pumpkin carving, but like we haven't gone to like the orchard to pick out our pumpkins together. Like we haven't, I mean, we always chop down our Christmas tree. That's getting a little bit later. Like we wait until like middle of December to do that. But I think that's another thing I'm excited about for having a kid. I think it like forces you to do those like cliche activities. I'm glad that you and Mark already do that because I don't know. I think that's so fun.
It is so fun. It's one of my favorite times. And then, another one we do is we go seed collecting.
Okay.
Now it's like the perfect time for getting seeds off of trees.
Okay.
So they'll start to drop their seeds, and then Mark will collect them and he'll plant them. So that's a really fun one for us.
So cool.
We can find like unique trees.
Yeah. When he plants them, do you have like a space for that inside that you like grow them during the winter?
Yeah. We have a setup in one of the rooms with like grow lights and then a whole setup for like the time that they're a seed basically and then up till they grow bigger. It's like a limited space so we can't get too carried away. Yeah. But yeah, we do have a good space for it.
What is your favorite thing that you're growing right now? Or your favorite tree species, I guess, that you've...
Ooh. Mark is going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay.
I think, so my favorites are like the lemon trees. Okay. That we grow. I think that's super fun. We haven't had them for long enough to produce fruit yet because it takes a few years, but we're getting really close. So I love the lemon trees and like the citrus trees and anything that produces a fruit I think is really fun. Okay. Those are all like warm climates, so they have to stay inside like year round because they can't be exposed to our winter. But anything that's like native to Michigan or, colder seasons, it can stay outside, like even during the winter and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
So what do you do when like your lemon trees or your avocado trees, right? Avocados are trees. Okay, good.
Yeah, we have one of those. We have a couple of them.
What do you do when they get big? Like when they're getting too big to be in a room inside?
So what's nice about growing trees yourself is you can kind of contain the size. Okay. So you keep it in a pot. Okay. Big enough to allow it to grow and produce fruit, but small enough where it won't overgrow. Yeah. You can kind of like manipulate how large it gets. Okay. So that's like, growing a lemon tree, you can definitely have a good size, lemon tree that would be indoors and it wouldn't be too big, but
That is so cool.
Yeah.
This is super random. We can edit this out if we need to. But I had a friend that used his basement and grew like a ton of trees and stuff. And I think he got to the point where things were too big,
Oh, yeah.
like the way that, however he approached it, they were too big. And he ended up donating a bunch of them to like Frederick Mayer Gardens or something.
Really?
Like I think that's something that you could do. Anyway,
cool.
Super weird.
Yeah.
But because they've got like those little tropical rooms, obviously, with the butterflies that I don't go near, but.
Those are so scary.
You don't like them either?
No, I don't like anything that flies.
Oh my gosh.
Like birds.
One in the same. Not. Oh my word. Alyssa, I love that. I don't like them either. I mean, not that I don't like them. I think they're beautiful, but no.
Walk.
Moths, butterflies, bats, barn swallows, like things that fly irregularly in any sort of not regular flight pattern that I cannot avoid. I'm not a fan.
I agree. I walk on my lunches sometimes, and there's a big pond by my office, and there's so many ducks and geese. Like, they just rest. And every time I have to walk by them, like, sometimes I'll cross the street if I really can't do it. But I have to tell myself, like, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. I just had a friend reached out to me today, and she was like, I'm reminiscing on my wedding, and it was my best friend. So I was her maid of honor, and I was fixing her train, and this was a few years ago. I think she's been married now for 2 or 3 years. But I was fixing her train, and butterflies were landing all over her train and like around, and I kept my cool. And she was like, I just want to reiterate how proud of you I was in that moment. And I was just dying because I was not going to lose my shit at her wedding, but at the same time, internally, I was losing my shit. Like, it was not okay. Oh, boy.
That's so scary.
We've talked about this one before, but what would your perfect day consist of?
Why is this question always so hard? So I would say a perfect day would be having a slow start to the morning. I'm an early riser. I typically wake up around 6 or 7, maybe 8 at the latest. And I would just like to take it slow. Morning is my favorite time of the day. So maybe like grab a cup of coffee or tea. I like to drink a lot of water first thing in the morning and just relax, read a book, meditate. You know, this isn't like a perfect day when I don't have other things going on. And then probably get some movement in. So a workout of some kind, whether it be a morning walk or yoga, maybe going to the gym. I like to stay busy. So maybe like work for my actual job, or if it's a project that I'm working on, just spend some time doing something productive that kind of fuels me. And then probably something active again. So in the summertime, I really love farmers markets or craft fairs. Obviously, my family and friends are really important to me. So seeing my family and friends throughout the day. And I'm a big cook. So I would love to make dinner and just take my time, like not being like on a timeline, just kind of enjoying myself, listening to music, cutting things up, like, I don't know, cooking a meal. And yeah, ending the day, like watching the sunset. I think the sunsets is so beautiful. So maybe just hanging out with Mark at the end of the day to unwind and be outside, look at the garden, go on like a little nature walk. There's a pond in the backyard. So like, you know, just really engulfing myself in nature, I think would be the perfect day.
Do you think your perfect day shifts at all depending on what season it is?
For sure. For sure. In the summertime, I love to like lay in the sun.
Okay.
Get some time outside. So that would be big in the summertime. And I think I'm a little more adventurous in the summertime. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a relaxing summer this year, but yeah. And then it's still nice in the fall to get outside.
Yeah.
But I do think the activities and stuff shift.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think too, like winter, I don't know, because I very much, in terms of like my perfect day and picturing that, I think you absolutely nailed it in terms of like, I agree with you so much on like the slow start, slow morning. movement in some capacity, whether that's yoga, whether that's walking, just being out in nature, I think is so important. And then obviously spending time with loved ones. I don't cook. I'm not a cook. So for that one, that's not me. But like reading, I could get down to reading a book on the couch. That sounds amazing. Or just like out on the porch. I definitely love doing stuff like that too. But in the winter, I'm trying to think like my perfect day. I don't know how outside I would be. Last year we took up snowshoeing. We did that one day and that was really fun, like being out. But I mean, you have to be bundled a little bit more.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like bonfires are good any time of the year, but I love having fires in the winter.
I do too.
Even outside fires, like just when the air is crisp, but the fire is keeping you cozy.
Yep. I completely agree. Mark and I started doing that when we were first dating. That was one of our favorite things, was having like a fire in the winter.
I love it.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Another big one we do is we do bookstore dates in the winter. We like go into like a cozy bookstore and then find books.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you like read the books while you're there and like kind of poke through them a little bit?
Yeah. We like to just
nice.
like read them for a little bit. Sometimes we'll usually pick up a couple.
Yeah.
And bring them home. But yeah, we can just spend like a couple hours like reading and yeah.
That's so fun.
That's a good one in the winter.
I love that. Do you have a favorite bookstore like local to us?
There's really good ones downtown.
Okay.
There's like, I forget the name of it. Let me see if I can find it.
There's that one in, is it in not East Grand Rapids, but Easttown area.
Yes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's like right next door to Modish Moth.
Yes. It's like it's such a cool
yeah.
store, and the owners are really nice.
Really? I'll have to stop in there. I've always like walked by it. Like I've thought that it looked really cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. And then there's another one too. It's called Books and Mortar.
Okay.
And I actually know the girl who owns it. I want to get her on the pod.
Okay. I love that.
She has a really it's a really cute little cozy bookstore. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I mean, I think the more things that you can find to do in the winter to get you out of your own four walls and kind of help combat, like, I don't know if you struggle with seasonal depression, but I think it's a very real thing.
Yeah.
And so anything that I can do to kind of like get out of my head a little bit and get like out and about, and still get some human interaction, I am all for.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I love that.
I totally agree with that. I'm really big on like family time in the winter. I've had so many good memories with like you guys and Mark's family too, and like my family as well.
Okay, Alyssa, what are you grateful for today, this week, or in this season? We ask everybody who comes on the pod that question, and I feel like it's good to kind of reflect and ask ourselves that too.
I'm so glad that you remembered to ask this question, because a big reason why we ask all of our guests on the pod what they're grateful for is because our podcast does kind of center on health, wellness, mental health. And I think that taking a moment to practice gratitude and think about the things that you're thankful for in your life, I do think it makes a difference. So currently in this season of life, I'm very grateful for this podcast. I'm so thankful to every guest who has come on and taken time to have these conversations with us, share their knowledge, share their experiences. I'm so grateful for you to be taking time out of your life to do the podcast with me. And I'm really grateful for all the people who have supported us this far. It means so much to me. Yeah, I'm honestly just really happy that we're doing this and thankful that I'm at a place in my life where I can do it.
That's how I feel too. I'm like very thankful that I said yes to it when you asked me initially, because at first I was very hesitant just because I tend to be like a word vomiter. And so sometimes I like say too much or worry that I'm going to say the wrong thing. And like I said, this is going to be a big like personal growth thing for me. But I think that the conversations that we've had, like I've already gotten so much out of them. And I know that our guests have really enjoyed being able to share too.
Yeah. It's been so fun.
It has been so fun. And it's something that like I feel like we both get like geeked about it every time that we record or that we talk to somebody about potentially being on. Like it's just something that you can tell that we're both really like passionate and like ignited by.
Yep. And it's
I think it's
sparked
so
a lot
cool.
of creativity. At least,
Yeah.
I think it has. I think we've been really creative with creating our website. We did that. Like, we've taught ourselves a lot of stuff.
Yeah, learned along the way, for sure.
Learned a ton, and I love that. I love to, like, learn new things. So,
yeah.
The podcast, I'm very grateful for it.
No, me too. And I think, so I guess to kind of throw that question back at myself, I think something that I've been really grateful for not only is creating this podcast, but I think just you and I have had like a great relationship and great conversation. But I think that that relationship and building upon that has been something I've been really grateful for, because going into this year, going into 2023, my big intention, I was so inspired by you last year and being just how present you are. I mean, you do that every year. I don't think that that was just a 1 year thing. I think that you very much have carried that through like the entire time I've known you. But it has just made me so much more mindful of my conversations, and so much more present, as it's been something that I have been more like intentional and focused on in talking about like the relationships and how we talked about that piece and like really prioritizing the ones that are kind of filling our cups. Like, I feel like it has just made me really prioritize things different. And I think it's helped me become more present. And I think all of these conversations, I've just learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about you, and I'm really thankful for the connection that we've built and kind of that goal and that intention just continuing to be solidified through what we've been pursuing. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm grateful for it.
I agree completely. It's been great. I'm just so glad that you agreed to do the podcast with me, because I can't imagine doing this with anybody else. Like, it's been so much fun. We've had great guests.
Yeah, it has been really nice. And I feel like we've been, I don't want to say like sharing that, but like it has been kind of fun to like introduce you to people that I've been inspired by, and then be able to be just as inspired by people that you've had in your life or that you've known, or grown up with or whatever else. So,
yeah. And I feel like you never know how it could go with somebody. Like, if you're trying to start something like a podcast or whatever. And I think like we've killed it.
I know. And I feel like the first time that we got together, it was like, obviously we were just like testing it out, seeing how recording would go and that kind of thing. But we had like an over an hour conversation, and it was just like, oh my gosh, we can do this. Yes. Like, we just covered so much kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so,
I don't know if you feel this way, but after like every podcast, I'm like, man, that went so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I could sit here and just keep talking.
Yes, it does. And it's such a nice release too, like a creative outlet. And the conversation is always so good. Like, I always learn so much. And then I listen to it and I learn more. Like, I'm like, I was there for that conversation, and I still feel like I'm picking up nuggets of just value. And so, I hope everybody listening feels that way too, as we get into these episodes and introduce you to the people that have really inspired and challenged our thinking.
Yeah. We should probably go over how we know each other.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
So I'm married to Nikki's cousin. Mark is my husband, like I said before. We first started dating back in 2019. So I first met you guys at family Christmas.
Yeah, and it was, honestly, it was so wild how naturally you fit into the family, I think, is how I would describe that. Like, it was like we were meeting Mark's new girlfriend, but it was like you had been like cut from the same cloth, if that made sense. Like, it was so nice to see that Mark, I think even in that point, and you guys were so early on, but it was so clear as day that he was so in love already. And I think that obviously you guys have had a really long lasting friendship growing up together and everything like that. So I think that love, whether it was in a relationship sense or if it was more of a friendship that just evolved into something more, the love there was evident from the get. And I think that made all of us love you from the get-go too. Like, I mean, you're impossible not to love. Like, I feel like your personality is just very warm. And again, your presence and your authenticness, and it just, you were such a natural fit to our family. So Anyway, we've loved having Alyssa in the family and marrying our cousin for sure. So,
first of all, that's really nice of you to say. I have loved becoming a part of this family and making memories with you guys. And I'm so excited to see the memories that we'll make in the future together and how we are all going to grow. I remember being welcomed into the family with so much love, and everybody wanted to get to know me genuinely for who I am. And it's been just a really special thing to join this family. Thanks for listening to our first episode. I truly hope that something we said resonates with you and encourages you to tune in a week from today for our next episode. If you want to support our show, you can leave us a rating and leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you could share this episode with a friend, that would be so great. It really does help with getting our show out there. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time an episode is released. If you want even more behind the scenes and to get to know us even deeper, you can follow us on Instagram at the Lightly Salted Podcast. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a light in the world. We love you guys. Talk to you next Thursday.